Welcome Pisces to your in-depth weekly forecast for week commencing the 8th of April for the Ascendant, the Sun or the Moon. On the screen now, I'm showing the event chart right at the start of the week, which provides a backdrop for the whole 7 days. The big takeout is that your traditional ruler of Jupiter is inching closer to Uranus. That's going to become exact on the 21st, so that's really exciting. That's in your third house, which is to do with your ideas, the bubbly ideas you have, perhaps some innovative ideas. If you're interested in technology, that's a great link. But you do have that big pack of energy in house 2, which is to do with the good things in life, our appreciation of calorific goodies, but also it can be to do with money. And Venus moved into that area last week, and I'm hoping you've seen an uplift. Even though Mercury is in retrograde in this area, Mercury actually forges a brilliant link to the path of fortune, which is a critical degree in astrology where we can have some kind of break. So the second house, money, links to the 10th house, your connection to the world. So that's good, whether you're talking about something to do with business, a job application, a property matter, some kind of breakthrough despite the Mercury retrograde could happen because Venus moved into your second house and at the start of this week is very close to the Moon. So your appreciation of good foundations is strengthened by that. But also, if you recall, when Venus moved last week, it was applying in a sextile to Pluto in your 12th house. That's still in place as this week begins. Past efforts can pay off for you. If you've really devoted yourself, someone can let you know how much they appreciate you, maybe by a gift, a supportive and appreciative text, or it could be financial. Something that you've saved or grafted away for can come back to you. What's not to like? Well, just at the very start of the first house for you is the position of Mars. Mars moved into your sign on the 23rd of March and has given you a lot of encouragement to strut your stuff and showcase what makes you dynamic. But Saturn has been in this area for the last year and at times may have affected your vitality, or you've had to narrow your focus, otherwise Saturn has left you feeling a little bit burnt out. Now Mars connects with Saturn exactly on Wednesday, and that is the blockbuster aspect of all aspects. But of course later on Monday we have the total solar eclipse, and much as Mercury makes that great link with the path of fortune, the path of fortune makes a really tricky one with Neptune, your other ruler, in your first house. So if you are talking to someone about a business matter, it's essential that you get the details really nailed down. And of course with Mercury retrograde, if you have got something there that's a bit off or not quite exactly right, it could get highlighted. So do double check that information. But later on Monday, the Moon moves forwards, as does the Sun, connects with Chiron in your second house. Chiron in the sign of Aries is about identity, but Chiron in the second house is if we don't feel valued, because the second house can be about money, of course, but it can be about how we value ourselves, but it can also be about validation. Over the next 6 months, you're seeking greater validation, but you're also going to want to build up the foundations of your world, make it more stable and secure. But in order to achieve that outcome, you have to be true to yourself, and someone could try to prevent you or in some way inhibit your flow, and that's the aspect that you're really going to become aware of. Mars conjunct Saturn on Wednesday. In traditional astrology, these two are known as the greater and lesser malefics. Saturn the greater, Mars the lesser. In other words, they can bring misfortune. But I want to express to you that Mars in the first house is a good thing because it's the ruler of the sign of Aries, which is the first zodiac sign. So there's an echo of that. Essentially, if you have been feeling starved of energy or lacking a little bit of drive and motivation, you're going to get it this week, but you've got to really narrow your focus in order to gain the traction. And if someone puts demands in your way or resists the way you want to approach something, your individual needs, that could see you get extremely frustrated and exasperated. Mars in the sign of Pisces can also stir up a lot of hidden anger and resentments which we are not so aware of. So in other words, our subconscious, our shadow side. So just be aware that if you do meet resistance this week, your response to it may be a little bit uncharacteristic. You may be quite forceful if you feel that someone's trying to block what you want to do, particularly around a financial matter. But overwhelmingly, as long as you value yourself, that total solar eclipse will give you a positive outcome, not necessarily just in 6 months' time, but over the next year, because you've got another solar eclipse coming on the 2nd of October in the outcome sector of your finances. So keep the faith, keep working hard, don't be deflected. Now there is going to be on Thursday a Mercury Cazimi. That's when the advancing Sun meets the retreating Mercury. Mercury in retrograde is known as an inferior conjunction. But this is the time for you to, as I mentioned before, really make sure that you're not dreamy, that you get the details right. And Neptune can cause you some mischief at times because it's difficult for you to get in the moment because maybe your imagination is informing your reactions to situations, but you need to stay very earthy this week. Really stay rooted to reality. And you can overcome that, and by the end of this week, Mars dashes forwards and starts to connect to your traditional ruler of Jupiter. That will be exact by the 19th. It will also link up with Uranus as well from then. And all the hard work and inspiration you've been pouring into a situation over a very long time can come back to you in a significant way. And you're going to feel much more heard by the 3rd week of this month. But you still have to be aware that you could encounter some people who don't necessarily like you or appreciate you, but you must keep your sense of self-worth, your identity strong, because that's what's going to give you the reward later in the year. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Pisces. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great week. If you've yet to do so, please like, comment, share, or subscribe.